Let's talk about the idea of autocratic breakthrough, a period when a would-be dictator basically sprints to consolidate their power, crush the institutions and people who could push back, and create a chilling climate for everyone else. For the would-be dictator, success depends on projecting power and creating an aura of inevitability. They need you to believe that Trump is the new normal, that the MAGA movement and American fascism will be in power for the long haul, that the only rational move is to go along, keep your head down, and protect your own interest. We've seen over the last 6 months what happens when this aura of inevitability goes unchallenged. Institutions from state governments to businesses to civil society to higher education to media start to fall in line, do what Trump tells them, and or go silent completely. Here's the thing. The aura of inevitability is a lie. It's all a lie. Power in American society doesn't derive from the top down. Trump's grasp is brittle, and he's overreaching dramatically. He will only succeed if everyone agrees to believe the lie. Countering the aura of inevitability requires 100 different tactics and strategies. It is not easy, but it's not impossible either. It looks like making an example of Target for obeying in advance and getting rid of its DEI policies. It looks like protesting and toxifying Elon Musk until he bows out of government, even though his 130 days were up and he was about to have to make certain disclosures personal and business, and he would rather be a shadow leader of Doge than an actual government deputy. It looks like students at Georgetown making a list of big law collaborators and organizing their peers to steer clear. It looks like federal workers refusing to obey illegal or unethical orders. It looks like building the muscles and the relationships for collective action. I give you this space. In short, it requires a countless number of people in a countless number of places to do something that the Trump regime doesn't want them to do, or to not do something the Trump regime wants them to do. That's how we shake off the aura of inevitability and halt the autocratic breakthrough. For that to happen, people need to feel like we've been part of something bigger. We need to understand that we're part of a movement. We need to feel like we will win. That's where No Kings comes in, with 1,800 events and counting nationwide in every single state. This will be the single largest protest of this Trump administration. And summer is only just beginning, folks. Consider this a ramp up. A single mobilization won't turn this ship around, but it can do a few very important things. We can change the narrative. This is essential. A massive show of popular opposition everywhere in the country can disrupt Trump's efforts to project strength. It shows that resistance is big, powerful, growing, and everywhere. It shows that we will not just sit here and wait for it to be over. We got to bring in new people. A mobilization of this scale and scope reaches people who aren't yet engaged, and if done right, helps to draw them in to a cycle of action and relationships on the ground. Now, look, here's how it works. I know you don't want to treat your personal associations and friends as a networking opportunity, but that's what this is. We always say, pull people left. And then when you've done that, pull them further left. We can't be left enough. If the moderates and centrist and gray area liberals in your life right now are upset and feel like they can't do anything, this is what they can do. This is what they should do. This is what we need to do. And it's not networking. It's about fostering community. When you show up, you realize that not only are you not alone, because no one in here is alone, you're actually part of something enormous. And that helps to build the shared sense of identity we'll need for the path ahead. You can spread courage around. After Hands Off from earlier in the year, we heard from lots of different outlets. There are progressive coalitions forming with Indivisible, Move On. They're doing it right here in South Carolina, in the South, in a bright, bright red state. I interviewed some of those folks right here on the show. Powerful institutions, law firms, universities, and they are saying that we're emboldened. They are emboldened by the protests to push back on pressure from the Trump regime. Courage is contagious. Look, you're a business, you're a company. You don't want to do things that are going to alienate people. Well, I'm having that conversation today about this space. Do we run this story? Is this going to alienate people? What do we do? Certain amount of courage that comes along with these decisions, and we hope that that's contagious. And when the average person, we the people, are in the streets, then we have to believe that that is going to embolden whole companies, corporations to finally take a stand, put their money where their mouth is. After all, they have all the money. When I was at a rally in the spring for 5501 Hands Off and all that, there were all manner of people out there. Everyone was there. Elderly, vets, young people. It was great. Everyone was coming together, and not one person left there feeling like they were alone. But if they felt like there wasn't anything gained from it, they're wrong, because here we come again. And No Kings comes at an absolutely crucial moment. Trump and Trump and Stephen Miller's vicious anti-immigrant crackdown has been escalating over the last few months. The scale of the cruelty and the terror they've created is almost impossible to put into words. And they have been cynically, intentionally sending their masked, unaccountable ICE forces into blue cities and states, communities where no one wants them, where they do not belong. They shouldn't exist. Abolish ICE. They've been working overtime to manufacture chaos. That is their number one tactic: chaos and fear. For people who don't even, I have nothing to be afraid of. But you see these armed guys rolling down the street with no identification, wearing masks. That's intimidating. Well, it's supposed to be intimidating. And they've been working overtime to manufacture that chaos and fear so that they have a pretext to deploy forces to crack down on dissent for all of us. The more this fascist regime can get local law enforcement and federal law enforcement to stand up to peaceful protesters, and when shit pops off, it's them that started it, then they can say, "Oh, okay, it's out of hand. Bring in the Marines." Literally. Trump's birthday parade and his attack on LA are all part of the same agenda of fascist theatrics. It is so fake. It is so phony. It boggles the mind that they get away with this, that people actually fall for this. It's divide and conquer politics. And it's the consolidation of power. The president isn't legally allowed to deploy the Marines in California against American people on American soil. It's unconstitutional. It makes him a fascist immediately. He doesn't even care about that. He's not a king. Trump wants to look strong. You know what's funny is he really wants to look strong. Never ever has he looked strong. Remember when he came back from the hospital after COVID and he like took his mask off and stood there? He looked like a fucking idiot, like a wimp, not strong. Nothing about that guy looked strong. Disgusting, yes. Weak, absolutely. So he surrounds himself with tanks. I mean, this emperor hasn't had any clothes on since day one. I'm starting to think some people just dig it. And what he doesn't understand is that true power comes from the people. And that's why Saturday, June 14th, we're going to prove it. More than ever, it's critical that we come together to show we will not submit to Trump's fear tactics. He can roll tanks through D.C., he can deploy the military to Los Angeles, but we can mobilize millions in large cities and small towns all across the country.
Watch this space.